you've done on your work you've done in groups, we're going to obviously keep that. And this afternoon, when we've done this other dialogue, and then we've done a case study, you're going to have 3. And this afternoon after lunch, obviously, we're going to flip all that. You know, we look at all the disadvantages, concerns, the risks and things like that. And then we're going to look at if there's any protective factors in there. So it's over to me and Gina again, and we're going to do. But can you not write it down now? Can you get into your groups and write it? Because it is about actually group discussions and writing it, or not what you think yourself, but about, you know, what in your groups, what do they think as well. So if you can just listen to the dialogue and then get into your groups and then write down your concerns. Which I know this is a burning desire to write as we go along. And then just coach a book.
The emphasis of the concerns is this key thing, the effects of domestic abuse on children. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so here we have the background, and I'll do the scenario, and then we'll go into our role play again. Anna's 14. Anna's mum, Sheila, is withdrawn and subservient. Her dad, Clive, is controlling and verbally abusive and threatening towards Sheila on a regular basis. He's also often physically threatening towards her and pushes or shakes her. He frequently throws things around. More often than not, in the home, Clive is in a bad mood, and Anna, her mum, and her brother Brad, who's 16 years old, learn that you just do as you're told at these times and don't answer back. Clive does not let Sheila work, have hobbies, socialise or go out. He is aggressively protective over Anna, who's 14, but allows her to go to guys and to see 1 or 2 friends that she has had since early childhood, unless he's in a really bad mood. He is strict with Brad, but lately he's given up on him, as Brad just does his own thing, and is hardly ever at home nowadays, and Brad's 16. Clive goes to Belgium about 4 times a year for a week or fortnight on business, and the atmosphere in the home lightens a lot then. So that's the background to this family. The scenario is that it's 2 days before the new school year starts. Anna is on the 4th and final day of Guide's summer activity days. She sprained her ankle early in the day, and so isn't participating in the afternoon's activity, but sitting nearby watching with Judy, a Guides leader in her 20s, that Anna likes and admires. They have the following conversation. I'm so sorry you're missing out on the AFSEN this afternoon, Anna. I know you were really looking forward to it. And what about the end of the summer dance gala tonight? Of course, you don't have to dance, but you can still enjoy it.
Oh, I'm not going tonight. My dad doesn't let me do things like that.
Oh, and I'm so sorry. I really shouldn't have presumed.
Oh, it's okay, Judy. I must be the only one that's not going. My dad's so strict about that sort of thing. I haven't got the right type of clothes to wear for something like that anyway. I've never asked for those types of clothes, and I pretend I don't like them, because I know how my dad sees it. He goes mental when my mum buys anything sort of sexy or showing off your body, because he says it makes her look like a slag, and it totally goes off on one.
What about going out at other times and having friends? I mean, he lets you come here, but what else are you allowed to do and not allowed to do?
Yeah, no, I love coming to Guides. It's all right with that. Otherwise, I don't really go out much. Sometimes allowed to go to friends' houses as long as they're not boys. And sometimes I go for a walk with Fatima, who's been my friend since nursery school. I don't like being a friend's home, Judy. I haven't done that for ages now. I just find it just so totally embarrassing to have friends around, so I don't. Our family just isn't normal, Judy.
What do you mean when they say they aren't normal?
Well, I've been to mates' houses, and it's cool, and their mums and dads are nice and make you welcome, and they're really happy you're there. You chill out in the kitchen, and then you all sit down, eat together, have a bit of a laugh. It's just so chilled. When Fatima came to mine last year, it was just awful. I just wanted to die. Dad was in a good mood, and I thought it was going to last all day, so I asked him if Fatima could stay to dinner, and he said that was okay. Oh, but just a few minutes after we'd sat down and Mum had served dinner up, Dad went mental because the salad dressing had run out and Mum hadn't got any more in. He called her a stupid, dumb bitch in front of Fatima and totally went into one like he does. It was just so embarrassing. I just wanted to die. It was then I decided I would never bring anyone back home anymore. But Fatima is still my friend, even though she's found out my dad's a mental case.
It sounds like her mum was really bad, Anna.
I suppose it is really. I know our family isn't normal. Now I'm older, I know it's really Dad that's the problem. He's just such a head case.
So what other people know about that then? I mean, are there relatives around who know the situation in your family that you can talk to about this or help your mum in any way?
Not really, Judy. It's just something you learn not to talk about, really. You just pretend you're normal, like everything is normal. We hardly ever see my nan or granddad Phillips or Aunt Lydia, or the ones on my mum's side of the family, even though they only live in Horsham. Because Dad hates Nan Phillips and Auntie Lydia. He says they've been trying to wreck Mum and Dad's relationship ever since they got married. He calls them the bitches from hell. He says they're the reason my mum is like she is, and he doesn't let us see them except sometimes with him. He says they brainwash my mum. Dad does let us go over and see Nan and Grandad and Auntie Lydia at Christmas, and sometimes on birthdays when everybody's over at Uncle Brian's. Cheryl and Jake, my cousins, are really, really nice. Cheryl's about my age, and we get on, but Dad won't let me see them because he says they're a bad influence on me. I talked to Cheryl on MSN after Christmas, and Dad found out he went ballistic. We see Granny Carol, that's his mum-in-law, but she's not the kind of person to talk to about things. I mean, she bosses everybody around. She bosses Dad around too. But then on the other hand, she's always telling us how brilliant he is. She goes, how well he's done in his career, and Mum doesn't know how lucky she is to have such a brilliant husband. And I know Mum can't stand it when Auntie Carol comes to stay at ours. Granny Carol comes to stay, but I don't mind because Dad doesn't lose his temper much when she's here.
Do you and your brother talk about the situation at all? Your brother?
Me and Brad, yeah. We used to. We used to talk quite a bit when we were kids. But he's really changed since year 10. He keeps himself to himself and he's hardly ever at home. He's moody. He can be really horrible to Mum. He says nasty things to her, then sometimes really nice and says sorry. I think Mum's scared of Brad. Sometimes he still talks to me like proper talking, but that's usually when he's had a load to drink. He told me he drinks vodka and takes ketamine when he's at his mates because it's the only thing that chills him out. He told me the whole thing with Mum and Dad all these years stresses him out, and he walks around feeling like he's going to explode, and drugs and vodka's the only way he can feel normal. He cried that last time we talked. I haven't seen him cry for ages. He told me that actually his girlfriend dumped him, but he told Mum and Dad he dumped her because she was a slag. He said that Brad told me that his girlfriend told him that he had no idea how to treat girls and that he was a real bully. The only friends Brad has now are just like him. He had some good mates before at police cadets and from kickboxing club, but last year he got thrown out of both of them because of his temper. He loses it over really stupid things like who a can of Coke belongs to, or like who gave someone the evils. He just starts fights. Like now, Judy, it's just the end of September, and he's already got kicked out of the mechanics course at college because it was so aggressive to his teacher, so they kicked him out.
And I'm mindful the others are coming over here now as it's refreshment break. This year telling me all matters, a real lot, and I have no idea what your home life was like. We'll be able to carry on after breaks, but only as long as you want to.
Oh yeah, I do. Oh, it's such a relief to tell you about it, Judy.
Okay, so in your same groups, what are the effects of domestic abuse on children based on this scenario? And so I'm going to read this out now, because me and Jim are not doing the role play. I'm going to read this out. And then afterwards, again, we're going to do the same thing. And this afternoon, we're going to pull all of this together and see what we come up with, and see if we come up with the same, see if we come up with different things. But the next scenario is Katie, Jeremy and Clive. But as I say, don't write it down on your worksheets now, because think I went to one with your children. So that's really a little bit of trouble at this one. This authority.
Made a quick decision. I think one person was scribe. I thought that was a good use of time.
Okay, so this is a case study. Katie, Jeremy and Clive. Sabrina is a single mother with 3 children. Katie was 6, Jeremy who's 11 and Clive who's 15. Sabrina has 2 jobs, a 9-to-5 day job, and then she earns some extra money weekday evenings behind the counter at the local fish and chip shop. Sabrina is newly pregnant. She's been in a relationship with Al, the father of the new baby, for only 6 months. And she's left him because he'd become violent towards her and the baby. Katie, Jeremy and Clive's father had been very violent towards Sabrina for years. She'd been to hospital on several occasions. Sabrina finally managed to leave him when he stabbed her. Leaving the children's father was difficult because whilst Clive had taken his mother's side and protected her against his father, Jeremy and Katie were their father's favourites and he was very involved in their care. Jeremy missed his father, and because of this, he and his father continued to have contact. Mum was not allowed Dad to have contact with Katie. Sabrina cares for her children with the help of Clive. She has given Clive particular responsibility for looking after little Katie. He would then go up off to school in the mornings, fetch her from school in the afternoon, and make sure she had something to eat and stayed indoors in the afternoons before Sabrina came home and then went off for her evening job. Bear in mind Clive's 15. So you visited Sabrina after Al was violent to her to support her in separating from him. When you were there, you met the children. Katie came straight in and climbed on your lap for a cuddle. She was very cute. She appeared very attached to her older brother Clive, seeking his approval for what she said and did through eye contact and eagerness to do whatever he asked. Jeremy, on the other hand, was clearly not at all keen to listen to Clive. While Clive told him to give back a CD he borrowed, he flatly refused. He became angry and insolent and threatened to hurt Clive if Clive attempted to take it from him. Sabrina was clearly tired and stressed and said, "Give it to him or I hit you," at which point Jeremy slammed out the house with the CD still in his pocket. As you leave, Katie takes your hand and asks if you'll take her to the park. The school had become concerned that Katie was using sexual language and behaving in a sexualised way. They helped Sabrina get a referral for Katie to the local child and adolescent mental health service. Sabrina continued to take Katie, reporting to you that the sessions were excellent. In fact, the therapist has remarked that Sabrina herself was benefiting from them more than Katie. When you asked Sabrina about Al, whether she was worried that he would want to see his baby and be involved in the child's upbringing, she confided that she wasn't worried about that, as he seemed to have taken himself off completely. However, she wished Katie, Jeremy and Clive's father would do the same. She said Jeremy was going off to see him regularly now and becoming less and less manageable at home. Jeremy had threatened her with violence and Clive had stepped in to protect her. When you asked Sabrina what other people who saw the boys said about them, she reminded you that whilst Jeremy's teachers were fairly happy with his work, Clive was not in school, so she did not get feedback from him about him from anyone. "I don't worry about him," she said. "He's all right, he's my man." So, if we can just write on again on your blank page that says Katie, Jeremy, Clive. What do you think affects domestic abuse on children with that scenario?
Clearly